everybody. Welcome to the horror show. I'm Marcia Parker.
And I'm Cecil Laird, and today we're going to be bringing you the reviews for the movie The Raven, directed by James McTeigue and starring Luke Evans and the always awesome John Cusack. So, Marcia, why don't you let everyone know what The Raven is about?
So, as you can imagine, The Raven is a story that holds Edgar Allen Poe, and our favorite American writer, at least one of my favorites, and he's, it's about him. It's about his story, and about him as a struggling writer, alcoholic, blah, 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 and then all of a sudden, there's a serial killer using his stories as the inspiration of the murders. And this is recognized by a local Baltimore cop who is Luke Evans. And he questions Poe, and he realizes there's no way that Poe did this, and they kind of come together to try to solve the mystery, especially when Poe's love interest gets kidnapped, and he's kind of forced to be involved in this and to actually play a pretty decent part.
Absolutely. Yeah, the movie, it sort of takes an idea, there's a lot of mystery surrounding the death of Edgar Allan Poe.
Right.
He was found dead on a bench one day, and no one really knows what happened. And this movie sort of tries to fill in the blanks of what possibly might have been Edgar Allan Poe's final story.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because at first he's brought in because someone's been killed in sort of accordance with one of his stories.
The Murders in Rue Morgue.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
because I know that there were a few that he did, and I didn't know them all. So, it was really interesting, and he gets brought in, and at first he's sort of taken aback, but intrigued because he's like, oh, wow, someone's really taken my stories to heart. But ultimately it's cool because John Cusack plays it as though Poe is intrigued but ultimately horrified by the situation and wants to help stop it.
I think he was more intrigued and didn't get really too concerned until his love interest gets kidnapped and taken from him.
Right.
And he realizes, oh shit, she's gonna get murdered. I gotta save her. And I don't want to get too much in the spoiler territory, but I did want to mention some of the they do hit on the Raven, the pit and the pendulum. That was a really awesome scene. The Mask of the Red Death, they touched base on that. That's actually when she gets kidnapped. The Cask of Monticello? I don't know. I'm not.
You're on your own.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Telltale Heart.
Heart.
There's some really good stories. I'm a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan, and the fact they were able to incorporate all of these tales that he's famous for into this movie and do it in such an effective way that also tells his story of his last days, potentially, because there's so much mystery and intrigue. Nobody really knows what happened to him. There's so many theories, but nobody actually has a set clue, because we are talking about the Victorian days in Baltimore. So
yeah, exactly. But let's move on. Let's cruise into the acting.
Yeah.
I am a huge fan of both John Cusack and Luke Evans. Luke Evans, we did a review for his movie No One Lives in a past season of the horror show, which was awesome. And to see him come back in this as another just role was really cool. And then Poe himself was really interesting. He went from crazy Poe to calm Poe to obsessed with writing Poe to fading Poe. There's so many different shades of the character that Cusack had to provide.
And I think Cusack was the perfect choice for Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, there's nobody else out there I could cast.
And he looked pretty much like any picture of Edgar Allan Poe you see produced, any of the black and white photos from when he was around or whatever.
Right.
The movie itself was just interesting. It was fun to follow. It might have gone a little long, all in all, but you don't necessarily feel it too terribly while you're watching the movie.
I mean, they took a little bit of time to build the story around Poe and the love affair and his beginning of a demise of his writing. He couldn't come up with any more stories. He was drinking too much, and he was trying to win the heart of his new love, and
Whose father disapproves and all
which
that
is
stuff.
pretty interesting. But all in all, they did a really great job. The music was done well. The
music was very appropriate.
The
production design
is
is definitely worth
amazing.
mentioning because it was set, like you said, in Victorian era Baltimore,
and they nailed it.
They did a really great job. I mean, the interiors, the exteriors, the clothing, all of it, put you right back there. So I think they did a great job with that. And then the effects I wanted to touch on.
Wow.
Because it was largely practical effects, but they used CG to sort of enhance it at times.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of really cool kills, and we won't necessarily spoil them right here.
We'll save those for later.
Yeah, check out the spoiler episode later on. But let's just say that they use the gore effectively, and they don't shy away from it when it comes out.
No. Yeah. There's no, let's face the camera somewhere else when this happens. Like, they build it up and they let you just experience the gloriness of the gore-iness.
The gory glory.
The glory of gore. Yeah.
And then the cinematography, I think, was also worth mentioning because not only was it competent, but it was actually really cool and involving, and it would help to build the tension. It would help. You never got confused while watching it, and they actually used it to, give false okays. Like when someone's walking down a hallway, you think they might find something there, and then it turns out it's just the way they shot it, where it's not actually where they were looking, and things like that. So it was very cleverly shot, very interestingly shot. So any movie that at least has good cinematography is going to be intriguing to watch, at least on some level.
Yeah.
So this movie has that, plus story, plus effects, plus good acting.
And there's a good twist at the end that you just aren't expecting.
With the reveal and stuff like that. It ends up being a really intelligently written, fun
It really was
movie.
thought out. It was really thought out.
Absolutely. So
check it out, guys.
Yeah.
Check it out. Let us know how you like it, and I would like to see what your favorite Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, what's your favorite Edgar Allan Poe story is? If you don't know any of them, just Wikipedia it real quick. Go ahead and jump right to The Pit and the Pendulum, because that's going to be your favorite, because that's my favorite, and it's the coolest one. So go ahead and use that.
The cast of
Montiago! Sorry.
Sure.
or Monteiro.
It's
Monteiro.
Amontillado.
Amontillado. That's the
That's
best way to go.
Amontillado.
Anyway,
It's
thanks for watching.
Edgar Poe.
Make sure you check out
Edgar Allan Poe is...
www.thehorrorsshowchannel.com. Check out our social media and all that good stuff. And remember, stay scared. Wolf the Raven.
Caw, caw,
Nevermore.
caw, caw.
Why aren't there ravens on the table for this one?
On face. What?
Huh? What?